This is ShadowQuant, Market Brief, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Thursday, August 27, 2026, and this is the New York session. Now, let's get into it. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq snapped a losing streak today, driven by Nvidia's momentum and a broader tech-led rally. Yet, with the crypto fear and greed index at 14 out of 100 and core inflation still above the Fed's 2% target, the disconnect between extreme sentiment fear and suppressed volatility remains the defining story of the day.
The S&P 500 closed at $766.08, up 0.2%. The Nasdaq 100 led the recovery, finishing at $711.37, a gain of 0.9%. The Dow trailed down 0.2% at $534.23. In sector rotation, the industrials sector led the day, up 1.1%, followed by the technology sector at plus 0.6% and the energy sector at plus 0.6%. The laggards were the healthcare sector, down 1%, the consumer discretionary sector, down 0.7%, and the real estate sector, down 0.6%.
Grid has the market data. Cypher, what did we see in the corporate filings and earnings today?
No major earnings beats or misses were reported today. However, we saw a notable flow of 8K filings. Western Digital, Artificial Intelligence Technology Solutions, Vince Holding, Avantor, and U.S. Gold Mining all filed material updates. On the dividend front, several funds went ex-dividend today, including DVXC at 79 cents, MIN at 6 cents, and RFIX at 15 cents. In corporate news, Core Scientific turned lower after its fourth quarter results disappointed, while Bitcoin hovered near $81,000 following Nvidia's earnings beat. Chainalysis also reported that taxable crypto activity is estimated at $457 billion, noting that the CARF framework misses most of that volume.
Cypher has the corporate details. Pulse, what is the macro picture telling us? The primary macro event today was the release of weekly jobless claims in the United States. Looking at the broader backdrop, the Federal Reserve funds rate remains at 3.63%. The 2-year Treasury yield is at 4.19%, and the 10-year is at 4.66%, leaving the 2-year, 10-year yield curve at a positive 47 basis points. Inflation remains a sticking point. Consumer Price Index data from July shows a year-over-year increase of 3.3%, and core personal consumption expenditures are at 3.34%, both well above the Fed's 2% target. Additionally, the trade-weighted U.S. dollar index declined 0.19% week-over-week to 118.06 as of August 21st. Looking ahead, Asia will be watching Japan inflation data on Friday, August 28th. Pulse has the macro context. Spectre, anything on the risk radar?
The VIX closed at 15.45, down 40 basis points from the previous session. This low volatility reading is notable given the crypto fear and greed index is at 14, signaling extreme fear. We are also seeing geopolitical friction, with crude oil settling at $83.53 as the Trump administration rules out reviving Iran's ceasefire terms. However, the risk desk is quiet on credit warnings and rating downgrades today.
Risk is contained despite the sentiment disconnect. Apex set the stage for tomorrow.
3 things to watch this week. First, the disconnect between the crypto fear and greed index at 14 and the VIX at 15.45. Volatility pricing is not reflecting the extreme fear in the market. Second, Nvidia's momentum is carrying the Nasdaq 100, but the lagging Dow highlights a clear rotation away from value and toward growth. Third, Japan's inflation data on Friday, August 28th, will be critical for the US dollar and yen. The single takeaway: the market is rallying on tech strength, but sticky inflation at 3.3% keeps the Fed cautious. Trade the momentum but respect the macro fragility.
If you're finding value in this analysis, support the project at patreon.com/ShadowQuant. Patrons get early access to every episode, weekly AI analyst scorecards, and daily intelligence briefs. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, hit that follow button and leave a rating. It helps more traders discover the show. We appreciate you. This is an AI-generated market briefing by ShadowQuant. All information is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Market Brief. Stay tuned for the after-hours session where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.